Welcome back to AM Live, and I'm here with the lovely Miss Lyons.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to meet you because this book is absolutely fantastic, and it really touches the heart. And I just found out that your fiance is over in Afghanistan.
Yes, he's a colonel.
Oh boy.
And I am missing him.
I bet you are. Now, enlighten our viewers, what is this book? What does it entail? Because it goes into, I know, a lot of heartwarming stories, but you tell us.
It does.
In words.
We picked a diverse group of women that we wanted to show all different backgrounds, some dual military families, you know, husband and wife both in the military.
Right.
And, you know, one is Beth Corelli, who is, her husband is retired four-star Peter Corelli, General Peter Corelli, who wrote the introduction to the book, and she tells her story along the way, but it's basically a tool for others to get advice from people that have been doing this for years. You know, there's long separations with these families, children are uprooted, so they talk about their lives, and they really open up. So I was really blessed to have these women tell their personal stories to the world and share them so others could learn from them.
And I'm sure some of the advice that they give you is just to the communication, keep the communication going and let them know that you're there, and if you have children, that the children are there and they can communicate. And with all the means of communication today, it's not like many, many years ago where they had to wait for the letter. I mean, now they can Skype. I know Adriana Skypes Jesse, and they have all of that, and that really means a lot. But especially, I think people forget that a lot of the wives, like if they have a few children, if they have children that have special needs, if they have children that are going through difficulties or acting up or whatever, they have to handle that by themselves.
Right, they become single parents, but that's where these women come into play. The military becomes your family, the community becomes your family, and they become best friends. These women lean on each other, well, especially during deployment. And, you know, and God forbid, but if something happens, somebody's wounded or someone's killed or anything like that, they're there for each other. And in this book, they talk about all the organizations that are there for the families and the children and all the things you can benefit from. But all the years of experience in these books is, it's amazing.
I think that's wonderful. Now, what are some of the other things that we can do to support the military if we have a military family living in our community and their husband or their wife is deployed?
Helping them out, offer to babysit, take them out for a quick lunch, things like that. Support them in any way you can. Reach out to them, because a lot of times they won't reach out to you. Most of the times they're in a military community, but you know, there's mothers and fathers who have children deployed, and it's rough for them, and they don't know how to deal with it. So to have a friend just be there for them is really important.
I think that's great. As a matter of fact, last week when we were doing our show, Just Between Us, Adriana was here with her grandmother, with Martha, and she was feeding our show to Jesse over in, I think he's in Afghanistan or Iraq. I think it was Afghanistan, and she was feeding the show to him. So we were all saying hi to him and stuff, and that boosts the morale. But I want to thank you because you are also a giver. And you also are a big supporter of the Wounded Warrior Project.
Yes, and our whole family is.
Great.
We do all kinds of things for them. My daughter would go to Walter Reed and visit the soldiers. She's an amputee herself. She was in a car accident and lost her hand, so she felt the best way to reach out was to go help others that are in the same situation as herself.
Right.
So
and that's important, because then there's another challenge when they come home, and if they've been wounded or if they are an amputee, it's another challenge for the family, and the children see their father or their mother in a different way.
Right.
And so the whole family has to be reoriented into doing this. But what is some of the best advice that a lot of the Army wives have given you?
Well, speaking of wounded warriors, Danielle Schell in the book, she talks about her husband who had gone into a burning fire to save someone and came out and he was burned from head to toe. And she talks about how she had to deal with that. So it gives a lot of good advice on how to deal with somebody who's been injured. We have Nancy Negron, who talks about all the organizations that supported her when she found out her husband was killed. He was killed by an insurgent who infiltrated the camp. He was just standing in line. She was getting ready to deploy herself within a week, and got the phone call saying, he had been killed by this insurgent. So she had to deal with that. But she gives all this wonderful advice in this book, and that's what the book is filled with, is just incredible advice from so many people who have been doing this for years.
Great. Amazon and Barnes & Noble, am I
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And Mom's a local girl, so we're going to say Donna's a local girl before she has to go back to Washington, D.C.
Yes.
But please get her book, and please support when you read this book, or you've probably seen the public announcements and stuff for Wounded Warriors and different organizations. Please help our military, because they are out there representing us and putting their life on the line for us every day, and we love
they
them
are.
for that. Donna, thank you so much. It
Thank
was
you
a great
so
pleasure
much.
to meet you.
Thank
meet you, and
I hope everybody gets a copy.
I do too. I'm going to run down and I'm going to get mine. With that, we're going to go over to Cam and our next guest.